Grand afternoon, everybody. How are you? So, I wanted to come on here and give a little testimony because I hear Spirit saying I need to get his testimony. So, I was outside a little bit ago, just meditating. I was outside meditating for about an hour. And as I was outside meditating, I had the squirrels sitting with me. I had the birds sitting with me. The trees and the leaves was sitting with me. Like, everything was active. And upon me coming back in the house, I heard Spirit saying, "Be still and know that I am God." And as soon as I was going to grab my shoes off the ground, there was a orange ladybug sitting on my shoe. And I talked with the ladybug, and I released the ladybug. Well, I basically placed the ladybug back on the grass, and it flew away. And so, just know that you are blessed and abundant when it comes to you being truthful to who you are in God, okay? Now, let's get into the testimony. So, with all the stress and the chaos for everything that had been going on with me trying to get everything resolved with this defense case to get my children home, I was stressing myself out, going crazy, praying and interceding bad for me and my children, and for the enemy to fall out of our life with the attacks that he's been throwing throughout this whole trial. I'm talking about I've been having people stalking me. I done had people try to take my life. It's been so many different things going on. And throughout this duration of everything that's been going on, God has been steady showing me the divine child that I am. And so, the beginning of this month, my cycle came on as it was supposed to. It came on, and it was a little shorter than I was expecting it to, but I didn't think too much of it. Being that I deal with endometriosis, I deal with having irregular periods every time my monthly come on. So sometimes they may be short, sometimes they may be long, sometimes my flow may be heavy and painful, and sometimes I may not have any pain, but I just have a heavy, uncomfortable flow for many days before it goes off. Now, normally my cycles will be short, like maybe 3 to 5 days, but now with everything else that I've been dealing with in my life, I now have heavier periods that last for basically a whole week, 7 days straight. So my cycle came and it left within 3-4 days of it coming on. About a week or two goes by and I was back bleeding, okay? Now, at first I didn't put too much thought into it. I didn't want to think too much about it. I just thought that maybe I was possibly just having another irregular cycle that didn't complete itself when it came on the first time, since it was so short. But it became very concerning as the bleeding just kept going and it wasn't stopping. And then I started feeling my body letting me know, like, hey, something ain't right. You need to go see a doctor, go get checked out. So finally, after studies, like pushing my health off and just trying to stay focused on doing everything that I had to do to keep myself in motion, completing this case plan for my children, I finally was obedient and trusted my intuition, and I went to the hospital. Okay? Upon going to the hospital, they did every test in the book that they could to diagnose me and figure out what was going on. At this point, I was no longer just bleeding from my lady parts, but I was bleeding from my bottom as well. So I was bleeding from both of my holes down there. So they went ahead. I still got mud on my hands from meditating outside. Okay, so they went ahead and ran some more labs and tests and determined that, yes, something major was going on. So after doing MRI scans and CAT scans and having an ultrasound done, they finally came to the diagnosis, and they told me that they found a cyst on my ovaries and that I had some colitis in my intestines. Like, they were basically trying to say that I was developing Crohn's disease or something. So upon finding out this news, I was bawling, I was crying, I was praying to God. The whole time I was in the room, I was steady praying to God, trusting God, because I knew that it didn't matter what these people was telling me. It mattered what God had to say. And all of it it basically boiled down to me stressing and needing to stop stress, because stress truly does kill. Stress really does kill. When I finally allowed myself to let go and to let God, and I was obedient, I started a new job that I knew was not for me, but I was on a mission that had a purpose when God had me go start at this job. I was still bleeding when I started this job. On one of the nights that I was supposed to go to work, I, for the life of me, could not move or get out of the bed. It was like I was woozy, like I was dizzy, like I felt like I was floating, like I could not stand up, I could not walk, I could not keep my eyes open. I steady kept hearing God say, lay down and rest, my child. I said, lay down and rest, sleep. So I listened to my intuition and I laid back down. I didn't even care about the job. I laid back down. Okay? Upon me laying back down and going back to sleep, I fell into a deep sleep. I'm talking about, you guys, I was sleeping so hard for so long. I slept for 2 days straight. And I was sweating profusely, like throughout this duration of resting. When I obeyed God and I listened to my spirit and I laid back down and rested, when I woke up, the bleeding that had been occurring for 3 weeks straight that would not stop, even with the medications that the doctors had given me to stop the bleeding, nothing worked until I was obedient, trusted my spirit, went back to my holistic measures, and I rested. And when I rested, I woke up. I was no longer bleeding. The pain that I was having was gone. All the chaos and the confusion that I was feeling in my body was gone. When I say God has been pressing hard in my spirit, the importance of self-preservation and being at oneness and wholeness with God, it is very essential and detrimental to your health and your well-being that you take care of yourself and that you don't let the chaos and the woes of the world run you down. Know that God has already set your path for you. Know that God already knows the plan. God already knew what they were going to put you through to strengthen you, to rise you up in the power and your gifts and your abilities for your purpose of being a light worker on this planet. When you allow yourself to be still and to rest in God, you grow in God. You grow physically. Prosperity and abundance comes to you effortlessly. I have not had to work a 9 to 5 in 3 years. And having to try to force myself to work one, to try to prove myself for these people, this case plan with my children, God keeps blocking it and removing it because I'm not supposed to be working, just like all the chosen people of God are not supposed to be working. We don't have to work because our gifts provide our finances. Our gift provides our prosperity and our abundance. And when I found myself being back faithful to my purpose and stopped trying to force myself to do what was outside of myself, and I came back to myself and started back being truthful to my purpose, God's love lifted me. God redeemed me. I've been back able to do my comedic yoga. I've been back able to do things that I was not able to do for so long because of the blockages of negative energy that I was allowing to become a part of me, being around people that I knew that God was showing me as my enemies. And when I have finally accepted that I could not save these enemies and that I could not help these enemies in my life, and I withdrew back my power and removed my energy, God started healing me. It's very important that you be obedient to God when God is telling you to remove people, places, and things out your life. Because when you don't listen and God is putting them through an ass whooping, you will get your ass whooped too. God showed me all the darkness being thrown at me. He showed me the womb magic. He showed me the spiritual hitman. He showed me everything. And when I finally recalled back all of my power and accepted it and embraced it and allowed myself to be still and to rest and to go back into full isolation and to remove all the distractions and the hindrances that try to present recently in my life, acting like they were friends and genuine when they were really people sending dark magic and illness to me, I'm now back at peace. I'm now having balance restored in my body. I literally felt the hand of the Most High moving through my body, taking away every ailment. When I sat outside meditating just then, I seen nothing but angel wings in the clouds. I was seeing fish, I was seeing fire, and I was seeing birds. I heard God say, "Rise up, chosen one," and keep soaring like the phoenix rising that you are. God is good all the time. And all the time, God is good. And when you allow yourself to step outside yourself, to go within yourself, to tap into God, and to be obedient, God will never fail you. As long as you are true to you, life will be true back. Embrace the light. Embrace God. And be grateful always. I love y'all.